Hey guys, Jaden here. Welcome back to this SEO technical course. So we're going to continue where we left off from the previous video. So if you have watched the previous video, you will see that I've fixed basically. I've went through all the 302s, 301s, and all the rest of the stuff. So right now, what we're going to do is we're going to look at the 200 pages. So these 200 pages are pages that are currently live, which means they are existing on the website. So we definitely want to look at them. And these are actually the majority of what makes the entire website. So you can see there's close to 500 or 600 URLs here. Right, so what we're going to do is we're going to bulk all of them together. And so we're going to start doing it. So the first thing that I usually like to do is, let me just, all right, so the first thing that I like to do usually is I like to just open up the URLs and kind of see what these pages are. So this is a product category page. And then let me open this up. So these are probably product category pages, product categories. Okay, and again, like I mentioned, if you can, I think SEO a lot of times is just about spotting patterns, similar with how you look at trends and data. And also one of the main important things, especially when you are implementing something, it's you also want to notice the kind of pattern in terms of the task that you're doing, so that you can group your task, because usually when you want to implement a recommendation, right, for SEO, there's usually a lot of different tasks for every individual URL. So essentially you're doing the same thing, it's just that for all different URLs. So what you want to do is you want to notice the kind of similar tasks that you're working on, and you want to bulk all of them together. So this will really help you in terms of saving time and be a lot more efficient. So one thing I'm doing right now is I'm kind of bulking all of this into different categories. So from the looks of it, these type of URLs, it seems to be like product categories. And again, I can open this up, okay, and I can paste it in. And yeah, so these are all product category pages. So what I'm going to do is, instead of you having to go and check each individual pages, just by noticing the URLs, it will give you a rough idea. So for example, if let's say this looks something like a product page, I'm going to open it up again just to check. Yeah, and this is a product category page. Okay, so yeah, so it seems like all of these are going to be product categories. And again, I just like to open some of the URLs up just to make sure that we are not having any errors within there. Okay, and then yeah, so you can see the URL structure starts to change here. Okay, so this is probably where all the product categories end. Okay, and again, I like to just check them here. Yeah, so this is also a product category, and then these will probably be their product page. Yeah, so now we have reached the individual product pages. Okay, which is kind of interesting because their URLs are with .html, where the website doesn't have a .html practice. So nevertheless, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bulk all of them together again. So if you look at this URL structure, right, so basically anything that falls within this kind of URL pattern will probably be a product page. And that's how you look for patterns. So what you're doing is you're identifying patterns even from a URL level. So this is going to be product pages, and let's see, accessories. Yeah, so this is a product page as well. So anything with accessories, after accessories. So you can see like the structure, it's the domain, and then the sub folder, and then there's another URL after that, right? So it's kind of like this three sections. So I think anything with 3 sections will probably be their product page. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. So again, this is 3 sections. So I'm gonna get faster. And then this is a authentication page. right? So it's kind of like their login page. So this is gonna be a site information. So anything to do with like, like their about page, their contact page, their privacy policy. I mean, not contact page, because sometimes contact page can be in a form of a landing page, but anything to do with basically describes their website, or it's helpful for users but not necessary for search engines. So like your privacy policy pages, your terms and condition pages, your login page, for example, right? These falls under site information. Okay, and there's this create account, which is their create account page. Okay, so all these are site information pages, and then we are back to product pages. So again, you can see 1, 2, 3, right? The first section, second section, and then the third section. So this is probably going to be a product page. So what we're going to do is we're going to scroll down all the way, and that's how you do bulking. So instead of like going through all these URLs, okay, imagine if you go through them one by one, it's going to take you a lot of time. That's right, especially for a big website. So just want to double check to see if this is a product page. Yep, so this is a product page. I'm going to classify it as such. And then we have reached the blog section. So you can see blog. Usually when blog happens, it's kind of obvious that this is a blog post. Okay, I don't have to open it up, but if you want to, you can just go in and see. Oh, okay, so URL is not valid. Huh. Okay, so this is interesting. Okay, so this is not showing up. It's kind of weird. All right, let me go to let me just go and check. I keep forgetting the website I use. I should probably bookmark it. Yeah, this is it. And I just want to check whether what's going on here. So this is a status 200 code. Huh. Okay. Okay, so this is interesting. So what I'm trying to figure out is, you can see that the URL it's live right now, but for some reason it's blank, right? Because it says it's 200, but for some reason this is the page that's showing up. So this is where we need to investigate a little bit further. And how we can do that, it's basically just going in to check out if their blog even exists in the first place. All right, so there is no post. Okay, so I'm thinking that they either have the post, it's just that on their back end they have removed it. That could be one of the reasons. And if they were to remove this post, I don't think they have removed this post. I think what could be happening, and again, if this is your own website, you will know what's going on, right? But if you're doing it for another website, then that's where you have to kind of like figure out why this is happening. So this probably happened because this used to be a blog post on their site. They have published it live, and then on their backend, they kind of have removed, hide it and things like that. That's why it's still showing that this page, it's a 200 page. It's just that it's not being served to users right now. So that could be one of the problem. Or another issue could be they have just completely removed this page. But for some reason, there is still a URL linking to this. So what I want to do is, again, open up your crawl, and I want to key in this blog post and see what pages is linking to this page. Okay. Okay, so this page, we're going to open this up. And so it says that this page is currently linking to international. Let's see. What we're gonna do is we're gonna find out where this, could it be on here? No, let's do an inspect and let's look for the URL. Okay, so there's no URL here. What is the anchor text? So there's no anchor text. International fraud. Yep, so you see here, for some reason there's this, okay, there's a link that's actually here, okay, that is linking to this 404 page. And again, if it's just one or two, it's perfectly fine. But because we are doing technicality, right, we want to make sure that, you know, we are kind of like removing rocks and pebbles from the river so that the river can flow more smoothly. And you know, this will allow Google is kind of like the river, so we want Google to be able to crawl the entire website better. So the more of this kind of stuff that you can remove, the better it will be. And because we are doing technicality, usually when we are looking at an SEO campaign, what happens is there's a lot of things that you need to focus on, and there are a lot of prioritization going on. So if, let's say, a website has only one page that has this issue, then we wouldn't worry too much about that, because there will be other main things that we need to tackle first. For example, if page speed is very slow, that's the first thing that we need to do. But for the sake of this video, because it's a technicality audit, so I'm going to just, we are looking at every individual things that could go wrong. And if, let's say, for example, if we do a technical audit, which we are doing, but if I'm doing this for a client, if you're doing this for your website and you find just one URL on your overall page that's like that, then you probably don't have to worry about this too much, because there are other more important stuff that you should fix first before you move on to this, right? So you can see there's a link here, there's somewhere here, and this could be on the mobile version, but I'm not sure, right? But there's some link that's going on here. Okay, and again, this doesn't need to appear, right? Because it's not serving anything. So one more thing is, it could also be because we are not logged in. So their content, maybe this URL here is only available to people who are logged in, which shouldn't be the case, because if it's under block, everyone should be able to see it, right? So again, kind of weird what's going on here, but what we want to do is we want to list it down here. Okay, what we should do for this particular one, actually, do I want to, yeah, so I'm not going to do it right now, because again, what I want to do is I want to prioritize, I want to categorize everything first. Okay, so I'm going to leave this as is, but like I mentioned in the previous video, the more you audit the website, the more you know what's going on, kind of the weird stuff that's going on, right? So I'm going to list this down as blog post, and then we're going to go into the recommendations later on. Okay, so depending on how long this video will be, recommendations will probably would maybe be another video. I'm not sure, but I'm going to carry on first. So again, I know this is a blog post from the URL, and then this is kind of having the same issue, right? So going to list them now as is first. So next up, this is going to be a category page, if I'm not wrong. So this is a, yeah, so this is kind of like a catalog, right? So for catalog, I don't think this will be ranked for anything. This is probably going to be site info. So anything like PDS and other stuff like that. And then this will, and then we are back to the product page, right? So product page, here, and then just to make sure, you always open up the URL and just double check. Okay, so next one will be, so this is also another product page, and then this is also a product page. So this is what you see with your e-commerce site. There's a lot of product pages, so the more variations and the more products you have, obviously the more pages you have to deal with. All right, but if you can identify, and if you are running your own e-commerce site, if you're doing this for your own e-commerce site, then it will probably take you way faster, because you will know exactly what things you have done intentionally and what things are done unintentionally, right? So in my case, because I'm figuring out, you know, what's going on with the site and things like that. So that's why it's taking a little bit more time. And let's see this contact us page. Okay, so again, contact us page. This is probably going to be a site information page. Yep. Okay. And then, okay, so this is an interesting one. Content. Okay, so this is kind of their FAQ. Right? This is kind of their FAQ. So I'm going to put under site information. So I know that all this will be under their FAQ. All right, so everything under content will be site FAQ. However, I'm noticing some weird stuff here. So what, introduction to foam rolling workshop. So what I'm doing here, it's because usually for site information, the chances of them being optimized are very little. So that's why we classify them under site information, because most of the time they are all kind of they serve navigational purposes. Like for example, if somebody wants to know about how how to self-collect or what is the shipping like, right? There wouldn't be any search volume for a brand like this, right? Because first of all, the brand is not like that major. So the people who are searching for the brand plus international shipping details and things like that will be very, very low. So what we are doing for site information is we're just gonna probably leave them as it is, right? Unless there's some major issues like duplication, page titles, and stuff like that. So what I'm noticing right now is you can see this introduction to foam rolling, introduction to resistant band training. Now I do know most likely, okay, so what I'm doing is I'm looking for pages that could potentially get organic traffic, but it's listed under these type of URLs, which is probably site information. Again, the reason why is because if I were to say, for example, foam rolling workshop, right? If I were to set them as site information, what's going to happen is I'm probably going to ignore this page. However, I don't want to do that first because I want to find out what kind of content this is, because this might be a blog post. This could be a blog post instead, right? Because I know resistant band training, there should be a search volume for this. Foam rolling workshop, there could be potential for a search volume for this. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at this. So you can see, okay, so this is a workshop. Okay, so this is a workshop, and it seems like it's not like an online workshop, because this is the event based. So usually for event based, I'm not too worried about it, because once the event is over, this page is technically, not useful in a way anymore. So then I'm not that concerned. So I'm going to be classifying this as site information, and I could even probably be asking them to delete this page because it's not relevant anymore since the event has passed. However, if this page is a blog post talking about foam rolling, and this is a kind of like a YouTube video is here showing people how to do foam rolling, right? It's an online workshop. Then we could change this to a blog post instead, and we would want to optimize this page. Okay, so that's kind of the difference of how you identify problems like this. Okay, similar with this is probably going to be an event-based workshop. We provide. Okay, so see, the thing is, I'm not too sure if this is going to be their online. Yeah. In general, they don't say we provide workshop to educate you on the usage. Workshop includes, but they have, like, this is broken. So what I'm going to do, right, it's in order for me to go and take a look. So because I'm in the phase of bulking these things up, I don't want to spend too much time to investigate now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put all of this as blog posts first. Okay, so that I can investigate further. And then how to track your order, this is going to be site information. Request a hard copy, site information. About us, definitely site information. Now you can see the URL structure here is not the best. Okay, because this URL structure is movement first.sg, and then there's a content, and then for, and then about us. Like, this is not the best URL structure. And I can tell you for sure, if let's say this website were to fix all of these small issues, right, they don't even have to do link building. They don't even have to worry about on-page SEO, anything like that. All they have to do is just make sure that their technicality is set up properly. And then you can see immediately there will be a difference in their search volume without even like creating new pages and stuff like that. Simply because Google is able to understand their website better. And a lot of times that's what I see even before working like on page or building links or creating content and other stuff like that. Just by technicality, there will already be a very, very huge increase in organic traffic, especially for a website that has a lot of pages. So you can see this is not the most ideal URL structure. It should be this, right? And what I'm thinking it's, right, so the way of how it's structured, it's not the best. Okay, you can see they don't need to have this content here. Okay, this 4-about us doesn't make sense. It should be like that, right? So we move on. So this is going to be a site information, and then next up, what do we have here? Right, so all these are blog posts. So now I understand a little bit better. So previously they have their blog posts all listed under as blog, and then this blog post, right? But for some reason they changed their URL structure to this content. Okay, and this could be done knowingly or unknowingly, but it has been changed. Right, so I'm pretty sure if I open this up, this is going to be a blog post. Nope, so this is we are a distributor, so kind of like letting people know that they are a distributor. Okay, but from how I can see, like for example, this one, how to lose weight, it's probably going to be a blog post type. Yeah, so you can see this is going to be a blog post type. And you know, to be honest, a lot of websites, if you are publishing content like that, I think you should be using your time more effectively. In short, you shouldn't be wasting your time, because content like that is not going to be, you're just publishing the content for the sake of publishing, which is not what you want to do. Because end of the day, the content is meant to bring in traffic and convert them, either by building your brand, showcasing your brand, because you are providing actual value to the readers. And if not, then there's no need to publish this content, because the ROI that you're getting from content like this is not going to be, it's going to be almost zero. So, but again, this is going to be a blog post. So you can see, even though the structure is like that, right? You have to sometimes open it up to see the kind of content it is. Okay, and you can see like 45 equipment care. So this is kind of also like a guide, right? Okay, and again, you can see the URL structure here. There's a dash. So yeah, lots of opportunity for this website. Powerlifting gears philosophy. So there are two different kinds of content that you need to look out for. One will be content that are meant to speak to people who already know you, right? So they are at a phase where they are already brand aware, which means to say they already know about your brand. So the kind of content will be, for example, if there's any new updates on your brand, if there's any company outings, if there is any news about your brand, your philosophy, so anything that it's not really going to be driving any kind of organic traffic, right? Because this kind of content are usually speaking to the people who already knows about your brand. So those are those kind of pages. And then there's another kind of content that is mainly to drive organic traffic, where people don't know about your brand. So typical terms like, let's say for example, let's just use this topic as an example, and I'm kind of digressing a little bit, but it will also allow you to think of how you're gonna separate out your website in terms of which pages you don't want Google to crawl and which pages you want Google to crawl. So for pages that are, let's say for example, this is the topic, right? So powerlifting gear philosophy. So if the topic is about powerlifting gear, so if I were to write a content about powerlifting gear, just powerlifting gear alone, right, that will be content that is targeted for search traffic. So people who don't know about my brand, I want people who search for powerlifting gear to come to my page even though they don't know anything about my brand. So that's for powerlifting gear. Okay, and for these type of content, obviously I want to optimize it. I want to make sure that Google understands it very well so that it ranks for the keyword powerlifting gear. Now, if I were to be publishing the same topic but a different angle, so for example, in this case, it's movement first powerlifting gear philosophy. And within this content, all I'm talking about is how we, so for we, I mean movement first, for example, for this brand, right? But if you're talking about how your brand approach a powerlifting gear, what is your philosophy, right? Everything it's within kind of your narrative, then this page will highly likely not want to target people who don't know about your brand. Okay, and the reason why is because your message in this content will be very, very focused on what you think, right? So these type of content will basically be talking to people who already knows your brand, okay, or they are about to know your brand, but not necessarily to target those big groups of people, because what big groups of people are looking for, they are not so much looking about what you have to say. They are more looking at more generic things that will help them because they still don't know who you are, right? So for pages like this, like for example, your own philosophy, how you view things and other stuff like that, like for example, this piece of content, or if you have another piece of content that is about, say, your company's latest features, right? So these type of content, you want to then have another way to separate out from your website, either from another URL structure, okay? And how you want to deal with them will be completely different from how you want to deal with your pages that are supposed to bring in organic traffic, right? Usually for all these industry like portfolio pages and this kind of content, right? You want to either what I like to do is I like to, excuse me, what I like to do is I either like to ask Google not to crawl them. Okay, so because depending on how many pages they have, usually if let's say you have a lot of all these pages, then it's going to blow up your website, because pages like this, content like this, the amount of words are not the most important. The most important is the message. So even if one sentence can deliver a message, that is what this page is supposed to be. However, if you have obviously one page, one sentence on that specific page, then Google doesn't like it because there's very little quality in their world, right? In their algorithm, how they view things. But that's why you should kind of no index or ask robots to not crawl them in your robots.txt file. But I digress. But that's basically how you look at what to do with specific kind of content. So in this case, for example, our powerlifting, so in the world of powerlifting, blah blah blah, hence our philosophy, so it's kind of like why is their USP, right? So in this case, it's more like a site information as compared to a blog post. Okay, thinking critically, let me go and take a look. Yeah, so I don't think these are blog posts. Okay, so this could be a blog post. I'm gonna put it as this, and I'm gonna move a little bit faster because most of the things that I'll be doing is the same. So essentially what I'm doing is I'm looking at each individual page to kind of decide what it is. So you can see like this is a signature signing off. This is probably gonna be a site information page. Introduction to kettlebell training. This is probably gonna be a blog post. Payment. Branded products. Yeah, so this is gonna be a site information as well. Revamp condominium gyms. Yeah, so you can see this kind of like portfolio pages, okay, will typically be the same category as those type of news, like your company news and things like that. You can see there's no pages here. Not pages, there's no content here. There's only this few words. Okay, so if you have a lot of these pages going on, you wanna get Google to ignore these pages. Let's see. see. I am not too sure about this. This is probably going to be a site information as well. Catalog, group. So I'm going to be moving slightly a little bit faster, but the main gist of what I'm doing is still the same. FAQ. Okay, so now we have moved on to the other one. So let me see, what is this? List of pages in home. Okay, so I'm not sure what is going on here, but this page doesn't have to exist. Okay, but I'm gonna list them down as a site information. How to order, so all these will definitely be site. No, this is a category page. This is a blog category. How to order. Yeah. Category as well. All these are category. And then this will probably be a product page. Yeah. Dumbbells. Yeah, this is all probably going to be product pages. Until here. And what is this? Why is there? So you notice that the URLs are a little bit funny because now there is home. All right, so if I'm not wrong, home, they are probably trying to classify it as a, I don't know, for home. Or is this referring to their home page? Yeah, but either way, these are product pages. So interval timers, these are probably product pages too. Jump ropes, kettlebell. Yeah. Rock climbing. Yep, all these are product pages. Okay, I'm gonna scroll down. Strength. Yeah, this is also a product page. Weighted clothing. Yeah, so all these are product pages. Okay, so oops. Okay, so now that we have classified all of them, right? So they all fall under different category pages already, right? So you can already see the state of the site. Well, we can list this as, so for homepage, usually it depends on how the homepage is set up. Usually it depends on, let's say, for example, if the homepage is ranking for, if you want the homepage to rank for its brand, right? And focus just on a brand, or you want it to be a key, you want it to target a keyword that is basically getting leads, or you want it to be a keyword ranking for some product categories, right? So in this case, I'm not too sure. I'm just going to put it down as category first, because this could mean this will probably be targeting like online fitness equipments, for example, right? So yeah, I think that's all. Let's see if there's blank. Nope. So we have gotten all of that. Okay. So the first thing what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at site information first, because these are usually the most easy to deal with. What I'm going to see is I'm going to look at current title. Current meta is fine. Current title. 801s is fine. Indexable or not is fine. All right, so usually for these kind of pages, what I do is I basically just leave it as it is. Yeah. And okay, so the reason why I'm contemplating, right, is because, and again, this is the reason why you want to have a lot more data to work with. So I'm contemplating to leave this as it is or no indexing it. Okay, and the reason why is because I don't know if somebody is searching for movement first login, right? Because if they are, then this page we want to leave it here. Okay, and you can do this very simply by going over to your Google Search Console. And again, the reason why I always integrate a lot more data because I know what to do with it. So if you key this inside your Google Search Console, and if you find that this URL, it's getting clicks, and the clicks are for terms like movement first login, then you want to leave this here. Okay, but for now, I'm going to assume that this doesn't get any. I'm going to no index it. Okay, and then this catalog viewers and all this stuff, I'm going to no index it. Contact us, I'm going to leave it as is first, and then the rest, like these kind of, yeah, this kind of stuff, I'm going to no index it. Okay, and then your about us, I'm going to leave it as it is. Contact us, I'm going to leave it as it is. Because I want it to show it as site links. So when people search for movement first, okay, if somebody searches for movement first, I want it to show it as a site link, if you will. So there's about and there's about and other stuff like that. So right now it's showing this, okay, which is fine. But you can see the URL structure is just way weird. So if I can, I obviously if I have no limits, right? If there isn't any limitations, I will obviously change all of their URL architecture. Yeah, that's what I would do. But we move. So then this one, how to lose weight in a healthy manner. Okay, this might be a blog post actually. Yeah, so this is actually a blog post. Why buy from us? Payment. No payment. Okay, I need to move myself out of the way. We're going to no index this. Yeah. So all these I'm going to no index. Why buy? I can leave this because this is kind of like their USB, which I can probably leave it as it is. Okay, and the reason why I'm leaving all this as is, right, is because some of these pages are more, if there is a chance to showcase their brand in a way, usually there's going to be, first of all, more content on that page. Second of all, it's also a good thing because I think Google, when they look at the page, this website overall, if they look at certain pages with its like USB, their unique selling point, it will be better. But in terms of like other pages, like how to track your order, how to order online and other stuff like that, I don't think this will be beneficial at all. So yeah, powerlifting gears, philosophy, actually, these are not pages I'm worried about, honestly. So I'm going to no index them, and I'm going to leave why buy from actually. I do not like. Yeah, so again, you see when you're making a decision, every single time when you're making a decision, there's some questions that you need to ask. For example, if you're going to no index it, there are usually two things that I look out for actually, that will support which decision I make more. So I typically look at two things. First of all, if this page, typically I would no index it, but what will make me not no index it, I'll look at two things. First of all, if there's any clicks and impressions, right? Because if the page is getting clicks, I want to leave it as it is. I want to leave it there, okay, because it's getting clicks. If it's having, that's the first thing that I look for. The second thing I look for is if this page has any links. Okay, so not internal links. Yeah, so in this case, for example, this page has one link, so I might leave this page. I might leave this page on, but I just want to check to see, because usually some links are spammy links. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up Ahrefs. And I'm going to look at what kind of links this is getting. Yeah, so you can see this is a rubbish link. So it's technically there's no link, right? So because there's no link, I'm gonna, oops, what's going on? Yeah, so because there's no links and there's no, assuming now there's no traffic, I'm going to no index it as well. Okay, so I'm just gonna leave the about us and the contact us. Okay, and this is essentially now I've done for all for 25, right? So and then I'm gonna move on to blog posts, because there's some weird stuff going on. So the first things first is I want to look at these pages, because I know earlier on, like what I found. So what's going to happen is I need to find out if this page is actually live, not live, but actually being blocked, or it's only showing up for Google. Sorry, it's only showing up for people who have logged in, but this shouldn't be the case. And also the URL structure is not the best. So there's a lot of stuff that is going on here. Okay, so what I want to do, right, it's I want to look at all these blog posts, and I want to go and do update on page. Okay, not for these two blog posts actually, because these two blog posts, it seems like they are gone. Okay, they are missing. Okay, and then obviously this is the page that is going there. Okay, firstly, I need to fix this broken link on this page. Okay, and then the second one is, if this is not required anymore, then I would delete this. Okay, because this doesn't have to be on the website anymore if the content is not. So assuming this page is not there, right? Again, if you are working on your website, you will know what's going on, right? But because I'm kind of like putting in a lot of guesswork. Okay, so these are all the broken links that needs to be fixed. Okay, and also needs to delete this page. Okay, because this page is no longer, even it says 200, right? It's not there anymore. And again, what I like to do before I delete a page is I just want to see if this page gets any link. So this page doesn't get any link, and if it doesn't have any traffic to it, I'm not so worried about it if we delete it, because it's not going to make any impact. So the next thing I want to do is I want to look at all these pages. Okay, and I think all these pages have potential to rank for certain keywords. Because like equipment care and this type of stuff, what I want to do is I want to do a check. Okay, so what it's gonna happen next is I'm gonna check to see if there's any keywords I can map to this page. Okay, and that's why I push everything onto update on page. So I'm not going to go keyword research in this phase, because again, this whole entire audit is to find technicality issues. So with this, it's not so much about technicality issues. It's more about if we can find a keyword that we can map to. So that's the next thing that we'll do for these type of pages, because it seems like they could be potential traffic gainers here. Okay, so that is for blog posts done. And also because these blog posts are actually live, not like these ones here. So that's for blog posts. And then the next one will be blog category. Okay, so all these are indexable. Okay, so for these blog categories, it's a little bit weird. Okay, so list of pages in home. Why do they have this? Right, so again, if I can, I would change the entire structure of the website, the URL structure of the website. Because it's not the most ideal. So for this specific page, I'm not sure why this is appearing. So what I would do with this page, and this could be in terms of how the CMS is set up. So what I will do for this page is I'll simply delete this page because it has no, it doesn't serve any purpose. Yeah, and the page title, you can see here, the page title is home. It doesn't serve any purpose, right? And it's still being indexed by Google. So again, look, so it's indexable. So all these pages, if they're not required, I'm going to either delete them or no index them. Okay. And again, if let's say this is due to, because usually if you use a certain CMS, right? Some CMS, they have limitations in terms of like, if you remove all these, if you remove this page, what's going to happen is all these links here doesn't work anymore. So if you encounter certain stuff like that where you cannot delete a page, then you obviously want to no index it. Okay, so the first action, what we'll do is we'll no index this page. The second action is we will, the first action is delete. If we cannot delete, then we'll no index these pages. Okay. And then obviously, again, you just want to double check to see if this page has any links or traffic. You can see no links coming to this page and I don't have the traffic details. So I'm going to leave this as it is. So that's for blog category, that's done. Now let's look at product category. Okay, and we'll sort this out. So usually for product categories, this is where it's all of them, most likely. I'm seeing some pagination issues here. So one common thing with e-commerce SEO is pagination issues. Okay, all of these are indexable. All of these are true to what about the canonical link element? Okay, so what I'm going to do, right, is I'm going to see if I can find this common issue with you guys. So you can see this is a pagination. So this is page 2, right? Okay, so this is page 2, right? So if you look at the rel equals, right, this is supposed to, okay, what we do is we look at the rel equals. So rel equals, where is my rel equals? Hello? There it is. Okay, so, so this is slightly weird. So they have a rel equal text. So rel equals is basically telling Google which one is the one that should be focusing on in terms of like pages. Okay, but the canonical should be ideally canonical to the first page here. Right, because what's happening is this page is canonical to himself, which is going to eventually cause a lot of these pages. So the more pages you have, the more this issue will be prominent, right? So typically for pages like this, what we like to do is we like to canonical it to the first page. So when Google looks at all the paginations, they only focus on that main page, the first page. Okay, and I'm not sure why this is not canonical. So what I want to do, and if you're using a CMS, usually this happens. This is not common. So for all these paginations, right, all these should be canonical. So all these should be canonicalized. They should all be canonicalized to the main page. So I'm going to move here. Blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, and one more thing I like to see is it being indexed by Google? Yes. Oh no, it's not. Okay, so this is still okay, still all right, because paginations are not being indexed by Google. But again, what I like is I like it to be canonical to the main page here. Okay. One thing I always like to do is I like to check out successful websites and look at how they are dealing with page nations. So if I go here, okay, so it's self-canonical, so this is fine, and see how these pages are doing it. Well, whoa, what the hell? Rel equals. So this is yeah, so this is canonical to himself. Okay, I can't find any. So it seems like so what I like to do is I like to look for examples just to make sure that the things that I'm doing is best for the website. So it doesn't seem like it's they are doing it. So what they are doing right now is okay, but typically what I want to do is, if I can, and again, sometimes it's based off on the software, the SEO software that this website is using, or the CMS. Okay, but I would like to do is I would like to canonicalize it to this page here. That's what I would like to do. Yeah, and then yeah, and because there's not a lot of pages that I need to deal with, so it's fine. So next up will be in terms of how we're going to do product category. So product category, usually what we're going to do is we're going to do keyword research. Okay, and this will be in the next phase. And I don't think I'll be doing it for this particular website because there's a lot of pages. But I will be teaching you how to move forward with the next step in terms of like keyword research and other stuff like that, right? But this is typically what we want to do. Okay, we want to go over, and generally, as a rule of thumb, what I will do, right? It's based off on what I've seen. The first thing that I recommend is they change their entire URL architecture, how the site is set up in a way, because you can see it's not like the URL is not at their advantage. Okay, and also how their structure is like you can see their blog is under the subcategory content and other stuff like that, which is not ideal. Okay, and then next up will be the product pages. So you can see product pages, there's a lot of product pages. Okay, and generally what we do is we usually look at all the product pages and we will update its on page. Okay, the reason why, right, is because we want to look at if a certain variation has keyword has search demand. So let's just take this group, for example, yoga, right? So what is probably going to happen is we're going to do a keyword research to see if people are searching for, say, yoga blocks. Okay, and you can see in yoga blocks there's this and this. Okay, so there's two. The first thing we need to do is we need to see if there are people searching for yoga blocks in the first place. Okay, so if there are, so I'm going to do I cannot do a sample here because can I do a sample here? Let me check. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to yoga blocks. Okay, so you can see here, yoga blocks, there are 150 people searching for it, right? So what we do is, the first thing we do is to see if there's a demand for this. So there is a demand for this, okay? So there is a demand for this. Now the next thing we need to do is we need to see whether are people searching for premium yoga blocks. Yeah, and these two pages kind of look like the same. So before I even continue, yeah, so this is one more thing. So you can see here, okay, I'm going to move these two URLs here so you can see it better. Okay, so this is, how do I, yeah, okay, let's merge this. So these two URLs are two different pages. and it's non-canonical. All right. So what they have done is this is okay as a practice, but what they have done is they have canonical this URL 2821 to this URL. Okay, which I'm not sure why, because these two pages are the same exact pages. So what they should do is they should just remove this page, because there's no reason why this page should be here in the first place. Okay, so these are the problems that we find. And what we're going to do is we are going to, okay, now we're going to look at a little bit of canonical. Actually, we have to look at this too. Yeah. So non-indexable, so this is the wrong URL. So I would either delete this page, because if it's not required, there's no reason for Google to come in to this page, analyze this page, and then follow the canonical to this page, where if they can just remove this. Right, so I don't have to focus this much, but what I want to do is okay, and one more thing I like to check is just to go in, check. So you can see most likely they changed the URL from this to this, right? Ideally, what you want to do is after you change the URL, you want to either 301, okay, or delete it. Okay, and also what you need to do, in this case, the best thing that I will do is I'll probably delete it. No, I will fix broken link first. And then you see all these links here, they are linking to the wrong URL. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll change all these links here. And it's good that I found it, because then I can share with you guys. I will change all of these links. Okay, and then I will delete this page. Okay, because I don't even want to 301 redirect it, because it's not that useful. But you can see now, based off on this entire site, right, what my first suggestion would is to re-look at the entire architecture and come up with an architecture which this website can follow. Okay, and the reason why is because right now what we are doing is we are trying to scotch tape, tape up every single little stuff to prevent the water from filling up. But you can see this is just one example, and there is like this one, for example. This is this probably have the same issue where they change the URL out, but the old pages, so it's kind of following the same. So you can see the pattern here, right? So old URL, change it to new URL, but they never fix their broken link, right? This is probably the same thing. Old URL, change to new URL, but they never fix all their broken links. And this is kind of all the same things, right? So immediately from a standpoint, right, what we're going to do is we're going to, so for all those that is indexable, what we want to do is we want to update its on page. Okay, for all those that are indexable. Okay, because these will be the live URLs. Okay. Next up, when we look at all those that is not indexable, these are pages that are probably the old pages that we need to go in and fix or delete in this case. Okay, so this is what I would do for all these pages. Okay, and one more thing, if you decide, one more thing that makes me decide if you want to delete or not, it's whether they have links. Okay, because if a website has links, so you can see all of these pages doesn't have links. Okay, because let's say for example this one has a link, right? So for all those pages that have links, what you want to do is you want to redirect instead, because then you are keeping that link equity. Okay, if not, then the rest of the pages that doesn't have links, wait, where's my, yeah. So this one has a link, and again, you just want to check if the link is its quality, right? If it's from those like generic sites or those auto-generated pages, then you can ignore this. But As a rule of thumb, usually if there's a link linking to this page, I will 301 this page instead. Because the rest of the pages, right, it's not going to be very important because these are pages that are not, they are there, but they are not really there because there's a newer version of that page. Okay, so instead of having Google to come here, look at this page, follow the canonical to the real page, you can just delete this page and then fix all the broken link that's there, and then 301 redirect it so that you can keep the link equity. Right, so 301s. All right, but the first thing that I'll recommend for this website, right, is to look at their whole entire architecture, right? Because there's a lot more underlying problems even with how their products is set up. So ideally, it should be set up something like that, right? Where it's jump ropes, and then the specific products, but they have like yoga, and then they have like wooden dolls or Pilates ring, yoga blocks, and they have this weird stuff going on. So ideally it should be, if I can change it, I will change it to something like this, okay, where it's yoga, not even premium, but just yoga blocks, and then slash, you know, that product name, right? That is how I would do it. And then say for example under yoga there is Pilates soft medicine ball. So you can see this URL structure. What I will do is I will then change it to Pilates, and then slash, and then this could be soft medicine ball, right, for example. And if let's say they have a lot of different types of balls, what I will do is I will then do this, and then I'll change it to balls / soft medicine, right? But this is how I would do the URL structure so that it's easier for people. First of all, it's easier for people to know, for users to know when they look at your URL, they know where they are at. That's number one. And secondly, it also builds, because of how your architecture is set up, Google understands your website way better than this. Okay, and then let's say for example this is also a good example. So this is commercial yoga block, right? So what I'll do is I'll do the same thing for this yoga blocks. Okay, and then I'll put commercial. And again, how you want to set up your URL structure, it can be very, very different as compared to this. It all depends on what products you have and also how you want to segregate them. You can do it this way. You can do it, let's say commercial, right? If you have a list of commercial products, right, you can put under commercial yoga blocks and other stuff like that. Now, if a product appears twice at some place else, because these are products that you can kind of tag, so it also allows you to let your products appear on, let's say for example, commercial blocks and under yoga blocks as well, because they are still yoga blocks, right? So there's many ways for you to do this, and then there's just not a right way, but this is not the way that they should be doing it because it's very messy. Right, so this is the things that I will do for this particular website. So now, once we've done with the site, what we are left with is what's going on? Product pages, indexable. Yeah, so for all these will be update on page. Okay, so for all product pages, what we want to do is we want to do keyword research to see if we can map it. Okay, but again, the main problem here is we don't even have to worry about that first, because you can see like these are good URL examples. AdMat. Okay, and I'm not sure why it's 162 AdMat. Okay, it doesn't have to have the 162 in here. Okay, or the 162 shouldn't be in front. But yeah, that's how I would look at all these URL structures. So basically, after all this is done, right, what happens is you have a list of all the pages. and what to do with it. Right, so all these pages needs to be updated or do keyword research for, and then you have all those that needs to fix require broken link, and then some pages that need to delete and other stuff like that. So that's basically how you do an audit for a e-commerce website like that. So typically for this project, if I'm continuing this phase, right, the first thing I'll do is I'll sit down and then have a look at what the products that are available, and then script down and write down how we want to structure this, all the products, because all different products have maybe variables like red, blue, and etc., or the sizes and things like that, right? And we basically want to think about how we're going to structure the product, because what's happening right now is you can see the URL structure is not the best. So a lot of opportunities that we can go after here. Okay, so essentially that's how we would do the entire audit. Now you know exactly on every single individual page what we need to do with it, whether if we are researching it, doing keyword research, which is the next phase, or we are removing it, or we are 301 it, or we are fixing all the broken links. But that's how it's done. So that's all for this video. I hope you enjoyed this. Let me know if you have any questions, and if you like it, please feel free to like, subscribe, or share it with your friends. And that's all for today's video. So I'll see you in the next video where I'll be covering, where I'll be continuing this SEO course. Cheers.